everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Simtimistic, like optimistic but make it Sims, and we are back with another video of Jacob, and he is here the day after Liberty Day. If you did not see all the things that happened during Liberty Day, please click the link in the right hand corner, well, top right hand corner, because we will be continuing on with this video very quickly. So currently Jacob is right now doing some homework while Carissa, his girlfriend, is sleeping. He had a fun night out with her yesterday, and so he's just doing a little homework, looking through his schedule, catching up on what's going on. He has a very busy schedule, as you all know, so he's just catching up on things right now. So after studying and him and Carissa eating breakfast, it looks like Jacob has a surprise guest. Miko Ojo, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, decided to stop by, and Jacob doesn't actually know her. I feel like Jacob is the sim I have where people show up to his house randomly the most, more than my other sims. So he's going to check out what's going on with this sim and why she stopped by. Jacob is clearly still nibbling on his breakfast because he made so many pancakes. And he's like, "Hey, Miko, what's going on? Nice to meet you." And Miko's like, "Yeah, I'm new in town. I just wanted to stop by and get to know some neighbors. You seem like a nice guy. A lot of the Sims around here say, like, you're the go-to guy." And Jacob's like, "Oh, I don't really do anything special. I just kind of go to school. And, I'm nice to people, but, it's nice to meet some new Sims." And Miko's like, "I had a very long trip of traveling. Do you mind if I come in for a little bit?" And Jacob's like, "Sure, you can come on in. I know it's really hot outside. I just have to stop at the restroom really quickly." So Miko comes in and makes herself at home. Miko is another one of those Sims who has to clean up when she comes to other people's houses. I know Jacob doesn't have any issue with this because Jacob's apartment or lot, whatever, he gets really dirty really quickly, even though it's small. So Miko's taking out the trash, and then Jacob is just finishing up in the restroom, and then she seems to have dropped the garbage. I don't know how that happened, why she picked up all this garbage and dropped it, and it looks like there is another sim approaching them right now, which is really weird. Again, Jacob has a lot of uninvited guests, but because he's so friendly, he doesn't mind. I don't know if the other Sims text each other and just say, like, "Hey, you should go to Jacob's house," but they all seem to stop by. Jacob is just making sure there's not any important trash in there. He actually found some parts, so he picks that up. I still don't understand how this girl decides to pick up the trash and then drops it, but Jacob is very understanding, and it seems like she's kind of an innocent sim, as you saw that just popped up in the notifications, so he's not going to be too hard on her. And I guess they're just going to stand around the trash and they're all going to get to know each other. And it looks like this new woman's name is Ingrid Knowles. I don't know if she's Beyonce's long lost sim cousin, but she's like, "This is disgusting. Like, how do you have this trash sitting right here?" And he's like, "Oh, well, she picked it up. It was a little too heavy." But Ingrid is like, you got to get this up." And so he goes and he puts the trash back in the trash can where it came from. So it looks like Ingrid is a little bit of a bougie sim, but she's still very friendly. Jacob comes back out because he wants to continue to get to know her while it looks like Miko is washing her hands. Ingrid seems to be an artist, which Jacob is really impressed by because although Jacob is like really smart and successful at all his goals, he doesn't fancy himself as like the most artistic sim. So he's also going to talk about his studies and different things he's learned and just get to know these ladies who seem nice enough. Miko seems a little clumsy, but she seems nice, and Ingrid's a little bougie, but they all came over and they're just having a nice chat, and Jacob is going to ask about their careers. During that chat, Ingrid decides to actually take the trash out to where it needs to be. So instead of having it sit in the house, she wants to take it out to the dumpster, which was what Miko tried before. So hopefully she's a little more successful than Miko was. And Jacob finds out that Miko works at an organization that Jacob is really interested in. She's a social justice worker at Concerned Citizens of Moschino, and that's because she's from San Moschino, even though she lives here in Oasis Springs. But he's really interested in learning more about like the social justice work that she does. Even though Jacob already has his career path, he still loves to hear about other people's careers, especially when they involve the community. So they have a nice talk about that, and maybe she can help him with some of his goals to help people out. Meanwhile, Ingrid has taken herself a nice seat by the television and is just moving right along. She's like, I'm just going to sit in this AC. This nice man invited me into his house, so I'm just going to hang out. And Jacob realizes that he's left his toilet pretty funky, so he needs to clean it up since he has guests. Even though he's really loving this conversation he's having with Miko, and he's in such a great mood from just finishing the semester and having a great Liberty Day, but responsibility still calls. Jacob is now done cleaning the toilet, so he's gotten that out of the way. He's just going to continue to talk to Ingrid while Miko has to go. And look who is here again. Again. Why? I'm so tired of Jamie showing up in the same ass outfit again. But it looks like Jacob is going to ignore her because I know he saw her when he walked by the door. Like, he saw her out the window. So it looks like he's just going to act like she's not even there and talk to Ingrid, who is a mail carrier, which is a nice everyday career. So it looks like he's not even worried about Jamie. Good for him. Even though Ingrid is feeling a little, she just walked away. Or maybe that's some other sim walking around in the background. But it looks like Ingrid is feeling flirty, which is kind of concerning because I'm like, Jacob, you just avoided Jamie. Like, don't get into another situation. But it doesn't look like Jacob is feeling flirty back. It looks like they're just having a nice conversation, even though Ingrid is like, you can tell in her body language she's being a little flirty. But, they're talking about platonic stuff like her job and his experience. So it should be fine. Also, I know Jacob has to talk to Carissa about the situation with Jamie, and that's been on his mind. He has not forgotten. I have not forgotten. That will happen in this video, so just stay tuned and keep rolling with us. And these two are still talking. It looks like they're having a great conversation, and they're really engaged and getting to know each other, so that's cool. Oh, Jamie's finally walking away. I don't know. She stood there for like an hour. I guess she couldn't believe Jacob ignored her. And you know what? I just noticed that this chick has blonde eyebrows, which is not okay with this hair. But Jacob has developed a good reputation from being around all these Sims and treating them well. And just so you guys know, a good reputation means that Jacob will have an easier time getting to know Sims, even though I feel like he already naturally has that ability. So that's good. I feel like it's nice that Jacob is getting to know all the Sims and like just spreading love to the world because that's what he truly wants to do. And it looks like Ingrid left on her own, so no problems there. And so now Jacob is just cleaning up some mess because he's always cleaning up this house. And Jacob is going to call his friend Brian because don't you guys miss Brian? I feel like we haven't had Jacob speak to Brian in a while. He's been spending all his time with the ladies. So, he has to call his boy up, like his first Oasis Springs friend, and just catch him up on how the semester went, how everything's going with Carissa, and just what's going on in Brian's life. How's the library? How's, I don't know, his blonde highlights. What's going on? Once Jacob's done with Brian, he's actually going to invite Carissa over so they can talk about, well. So Jacob and Carissa start to talk, and Carissa's a little tense because she's kind of taken aback by the fact that Jacob has called her over to talk, and she just left earlier today. And Jacob is like nervously fiddling with his school books, and he's like, listen, I have this friend Jamie who I used to really like, and we were friends, and then I tried to take it to the next level with her, and that didn't necessarily work. And I just wanted to let you know because our dating situation kind of overlapped a little. And Carissa's like, that's fine. I find it weird that you're telling me, but I think it's okay, Jacob. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's not that serious. I know people date different people, and I love you and I'm happy to be with you. It doesn't matter who you used to date or who you messed with. And Jacob is partially relieved, but also not really, because as you and I know, that is not the whole story. That's not really what Jacob had to tell her. There's nothing interesting about the fact that he dated Jamie and Carissa, and there might have been some overlap before there was a committed relationship. That's like a silly truth that he told. So he really needs to get it together, and I think all of this stuff is just making him nauseous. So he ordered some like nausea medicine online, and I don't think he's ready to tell her tonight, but he really needs to come out with the truth and stop avoiding it. I think even though Carissa said everything is okay, I think deep down Carissa knows like something's a little off, and that wasn't the whole truth, or that isn't the truth at all. Carissa knows something's wrong. They're hanging out and they're going to watch this movie and try to relax, but as you can see, Carissa's still like a little intense, and she's like a little stiff. Like her mood is still tense, and you know, she's a little concerned that something really is going on, but she doesn't want to push the issue, and she wants to give Jacob time to say it on his own. Anyway, I think we should give these two a little privacy and let them finish out the rest of the evening and move on to the next day. So it's the next day, and Jacob and Carissa are not up yet, as you can see. And at 8:33 a.m., we have a text from Jamie saying, "Hey, I heard you became friends with Ingrid Knowles. She's pretty cool." Now, y'all know that Jamie is just being petty. Like, she knows that Jacob ignored her. She was looking in the window while he was talking to Ingrid, and she's just being petty. Why she's being petty at 8:33 in the morning, I do not know. But because of this nonsense, Jacob is stressed, and he's going to walk out and get a little bit of fresh air and go for a jog. Jacob has on his earbuds, and he's just going to go for a jog around Oasis Springs. And he feels like he's seeing Jamie everywhere. Like, he keeps looking at random women and thinking it's Jamie. He feels like she's like the wall is closing in on him. Not that he misses Jamie because he's really angry with her, but that like he's trying to escape the secret. It's such a small secret, and because when you don't tell people things, sometimes they tend to balloon. So Jacob knows that he needs to resolve this ASAP, because what if Carissa would have seen the text after he just had that conversation about Jamie being an old friend and not really being anything to be concerned about? So Jacob really needs to get home after he finishes dog and just deal with this situation head on. Jacob is showered and back from his run, and of course today of all days, Carissa is not up yet, so he's just at this point he's trying to distract himself with his schoolwork. He still has on his headphones, and he's just trying to get his work done until Carissa wakes up, because he doesn't want to wake her up to have this conversation, but he's tired of putting it off. So right now he's just trying to distract himself, and it looks like he's doing a great job because he has achieved level 5 in the research and debate skill, which is very important to his major. So he can now be more persuasive and convince other Sims to do different things. And that's great for Jacob because he has his big dream of helping all the Sims. It looks like Carissa is finally getting out of bed, so, at noon, but it's okay. It's the weekend, it's Sunday, and Jacob has breakfast ready for her. It looks like her stomach is actually not feeling so well. She may be having cramps, or I don't know, maybe she just has a stomach ache, but he is going to talk to her. I'm just going to add Carissa to a group to make this whole process for them to have this conversation much easier because it is time, and it looks like Carissa is feeling flirty. So maybe she's just hungry. Maybe she grabbed her stomach because she's just hungry. So they're going to get some food and eat. And Carissa's like, oh, you've been working on your homework. And Jacob's like, yeah, I got up a little early. I went for a jog. And then I came back and did some work. But I feel like we have to have an important conversation. And Carissa's like, of course, can you just take your headphones off then? And so Jacob is so nervous, he's not thinking straight, but he takes his headphones off and they begin to talk. So Jacob is like, well, you remember how I've told you about Jamie, and I just wanted to let you know that things are not exactly as simple as I let on. Jamie and I did kind of date before this all happened, but I think that you should know that one time Jamie came over uninvited and we flirted a little. And Carissa's a little confused by this conversation. She's like, what do you mean you guys flirted a little bit? And Jacob is like, well, she stopped by before I had to go to class on Liberty Day, and we just flirted. We talked about old times, and we just made some jokes, and I just feel like I probably crossed the line. And Carissa actually is very understanding of all of this. She's like, so all you did was flirt? And Jacob's like, yeah, I didn't take it any further, but I know that I shouldn't have done that. And Carissa's like, look, I know that you are attractive and people will flirt, but you have to be responsible. It looks like you were responsible, but just make sure you are very careful with these unannounced guests, especially now that we are together and in a committed relationship. And Jacob's like, thank you. Thank you so much for being so understanding. And Carissa's like, look, I don't want to be embarrassed, and I get a bad feeling about this Jamie girl, and I don't want anything to happen to you. I know you're a good guy, and sometimes people have bad motives. And Jacob's like, yeah, I know people have bad motives sometimes. And it looks like everything worked out for Jacob. Like, he looks relieved, she looks relieved, and hopefully Jacob can be a little more responsible, especially now that he's in a full-on relationship with Carissa, and there is no doubt that she's like supposed to be his number one girl. So hopefully Jacob can continue with this plan. And it looks like the people that ship Jacob and Carissa have nothing to worry about. Do you guys feel relieved? Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you feel like glad we are done with this Jamie chapter? Do you feel like Jacob got off too easily? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below, and it would be great if you could let me know before you get to the next part of this video. But if not, just let me know at the end of the video when you're all done. And it looks like Carissa is still having some stomach problems, but she's just overall relieved that this was not worse than she thought it was. So they talk a little more, and then Carissa begins to clean up. And again, Jacob is just really relieved that this is his girlfriend and that she's such a wonderful person. And it looks like Brian has showed up, so I feel like it's perfect timing for Brian to meet Carissa. And clearly something's wrong with the sink. Of course, something's always breaking, dirty, and gross in Jacob's house. And anyway, yeah, it's time for Brian and Carissa to meet because it seems like Jacob and Carissa are on a great plane now, and you know, Brian is beginning to feel a little left out the loop with his friend Jacob. And so Jacob's like, hey Carissa, I really want you to meet my friend. I have to do some cleaning and I have to fix this sink, but as soon as I'm done, you should meet Brian. And Jacob is gonna hug Brian once he greets him, but I'm actually just gonna add Brian to the group because I feel like it makes things so much easier to add these Sims to the group when you want them to all interact and like talk together. So it looks like Brian is in a fine mood, so they're just gonna chat a little bit and then we are gonna call Carissa over and like give her the full intro. And it's Jacob and Brian are really happy to see each other, and Jacob always wants to talk about world peace, so he's gonna do that again. And Carissa's like, hey, so I'm Carissa, and it looks like you guys are in a really intense conversation, but I just wanted to say hi and get to know you a little bit. Brian's like, hey Carissa, nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. And Carissa's like, likewise, likewise. So they're finally meeting and getting to chat. And then they all just hang out on Jacob's little deck. And don't mind me, I'm taking screenshots. And it looks like somebody, guys. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I have no words that Jamie is here again. And now Carissa's here, and now Carissa knows who Jamie is, and she's gonna knock on the door and act like she's slow. I don't know what she's doing, but like, and Brian's like, I came over right in time for the drama, like, because he knows this is just a hot mess. But it looks like Carissa is playing it cool, and I can't even, yeah, she's just like, I'm gonna leave and head out. Yep, I'm gonna head out. And in the meantime, she's just gonna ice girl Jamie because I don't know what to say. Leave me a comment because I don't know what to say about this situation. Like, it's awkward. Everybody go home. Jamie, stop coming over. Should I delete her from the game? Is that what it has come to? I don't even know. I can't, like, look at my screen is going all over the place because I'm clearly having a meltdown. These two fools are just gonna sit here and act like nothing happened. Leave a comment and let me know what to do with this. Again, I'm Simtimistic, like optimistic, but make it Sims. Follow me on Twitter because I talk about these people a lot on there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.